Okay, bitches. I'm kidding.
Oh my god, unfollowed. Unsubscribe.
Wait, I don't get monetized yet, so
Good, you should.
I don't get monetized yet, so I can cuss. Okay. I forgot my intro.
Hello, welcome to Hello Sunflowers. What do you say?
Oh my gosh.
Hello flowers.
Hello, my little flowers. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sunny. Your turn.
Hello flowers. Welcome to the channel. My name's Olivia.
If you need to use my real name, I don't care about being doxxed.
Okay, you're right. So I should just refer to you as Sunny?
You should try to.
Okay. Or bitch.
I'm sure if somebody tried hard enough, they'd know my name. Anyway, okay, so we're introducing you. Man, this is so casual, but now this introduction is so deep. Okay, so hello everybody. This is my friend Olivia. She is so hard to do with one microphone. Hello everybody. This is my friend Olivia. She is she's a friend of mine. We went to the same high school together, and we both are from Texas. And we just so happen to be going to the same art college in Chicago. So yeah, we're bonded, bitch. Oh my god, I never say that on my channel.
Your demeanor has already shifted.
I know! It's because of you. Okay, so, here we go. So, the reason I'm doing this interview with you is because you inspire me a lot as a person. Your maturity and depth of character has always really intrigued me, especially when it comes to the way that you, talk about your art. I find myself always really inspired in your presence, and we have a lot of really nice conversations together that I thought it would be fun to record. Do you know why you became so deeply involved in an almost spiritual aspect of art making at such an early age? And what gave you this patience and nuance, understanding?
So I feel like I have too many answers for that question, but so many words that I've yet to understand and am able to say. So at first what came to mind was the role in which my family and their relationship with art has impacted me. My grandfather, he did murals on cars, and I was talking about the one he did for Jose Campos, which was, he was a veteran who was murdered by the police, and his death is what sparked the Moody Park riots, which is a riot that happened close to Cinco de Mayo, I guess, in the 70s, maybe? Mm-hmm. And it was cool because the other day I went to a Brown Berets pop-up poetry little meeting on Saturday, and it was fun. I got to read my poetry, and I've never read my poetry before. Yeah. It was cool. The Brown Berets is very small in Houston. It used to be bigger. I think there was tens of people. Now there's only 4 people who ever show up. So the community is very small, very, very small. But back to my grandfather, a cool story about one of his murals, or the action, which leads to kind of a more spiritual aspect, was he was painting a car, and my cousin was crying, and he had told her to come over, and he was like, look, I'm gonna paint this car with your tears, come here. And he would pick up her tears, mm-hmm. and I wasn't born yet, but he, in a sense, kind of used his murals and his hobby, and he, this was pretty much how he made money, to kind of soothe and to kind of, it was a very personal gesture, I think, and I always that said a lot to me about him and about his the work he did. And yeah, so I always keep that in mind, how in a sense my art can have a personal connection, and I can use it to not only make myself feel better but make other people feel better. Um and
Yeah. So that was a really interesting and unexpected story. I like how it's again like our faces super close to each other. Okay. So that was a really unexpected and super interesting story that I was not expecting to get out of this like question. Just this introductory question. This is definitely why I'm doing an interview with you. So let's get into, not a lot of these questions are related to each other. Like a lot of these questions are related to each other, but I'm not going by categories. So we're probably going to be hopping back and forth, and I might not ask all of them. So going off the fact that you said that you're influenced by your grandpa to make art that soothes people, and you know that it has the possibility to. Do you think that your art would have the power to make social change? And do you think you have to do that? Should artists just do what they feel inspired to do, whether or not it's for the purpose of advocacy or social change? A lot of people refer to this idea as art for art's sake. And yeah, I'm basically asking this question because I heard a lot in art school that people look down on art for art's sake because art must be advocating for something, art must be for something, and if it is just for aesthetic purposes, is it really as important? And that was a big question that I heard about when we were in art school. I don't know if you've heard that too. We're in the same art school, if you felt that vibe, but I'm a big advocate for art for art's sake, just art for whatever you want to do art for, you know? Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, it's interesting that you kind of asked that question. I find it kind of difficult to answer because personally, you know, in my experience with creating, I'm in a constant battle with, should I be more should I be creating something that will be more for social justice because of the group of people that I might represent? You know, there is a constant pressure.
I feel that too.
To do that. And in a sense, I honestly don't like that. It makes me feel very overwhelmed, especially like when I was like last week, like I told you, when I did that Brown Beret poetry pop-up, I was so stressed out because I was like, I need to look at my pieces and find something that's about politics, or something that was politically driven, or something that speaks from like a revolutionary point of view or whatever. And I felt very like tense, very there was some sort of magic lost. Yeah. And I hate that the most, like, for real. Mm-hmm. It's really it, and that's what I don't like. So, you know, sometimes politically driven pieces that I create just come out of nowhere. Yeah. And with no intention. And as long as it has that magic and I can stick with it and feel it still flowing within me, even if I recite it after I wrote it 4 years later, that's what's most important. So this art for art's sake thing, I feel like is...
You like it?
I do like that, you know?
You like that phrase?
I do. I was like, at first I was like, what does that mean? Yeah. Art for art's sake. I forgot the question.
You're doing good. You're doing
good. Okay. But I have a small story. I don't know if this kind of relates in a way.
Girl, you talk. These questions are meant to provoke you speaking. Yeah.
So when you had asked how does somewhat my experiences affect my art, this so much isn't related in a sense of race or ethnicity, but of like just personality, I guess. The way I grew up, who I was when I was a child. I was very, very quiet. I did not speak for a very long time. They thought I wasn't able to speak. I wouldn't ever be able to speak. I didn't really walk. at all. So I would oftentimes sit there. I wouldn't cry either. So like I would be sitting in ant piles and I wouldn't be screaming. Tears would be rolling down my face maybe, but I wouldn't be uttering for help. I wouldn't be like, I would be silent. And I find that so interesting.
You were such an edgy baby.
Bitch. And so that sort of relationship with language has always been unique to me. The way I, in a sense, have rejected language. Also in terms of church as well.
Yeah.
Because I went to a only Spanish church and I don't know Spanish.
I love this story.
So like, my anything I have ever known about religion has been very interesting as well because of me simply not understanding what's going on and what they're saying. I just am looking at them and I'm seeing sweat rolling down their necks. I'm seeing their hands in the air, them swaying, their fast breathing, like their hums, sometimes their grunts, or if they're speaking tongues, they're on the floor, like, and that sort of uncommunicable observation, that sort of like unspoken but also not even understanding of language itself has really shifted and really created the relationship I have with language.
Yeah.
And so when I'm writing, I'm constantly rejecting my own writing, and for that, with this sort of instinct, it's like an instinct of mine to just reject words, and it's very hard because that's difficult. Like, imagine you're painting and you're rejecting what it is you're painting. You're like, It
is. It is said that that modern art, so the modern contemporary art, what marks contemporary art, the ability to self-actualize and constantly reinvent itself. So it's constantly rejecting its past and reinventing itself in new ways. That's what a lot of people consider to be contemporary art, if art does that. And that's why we have so many rapid changes in art movements these days. So I find that an interesting parallel with you. Even though you weren't extremely influenced by the common culture of contemporary art, you still went down that path. And it's telling, it tells me almost, for some of us, it might be more like nature than it is influenced by culture.
Great point.
You sound so condescending.
Just great point. That's all I can say.
Okay. That is the only two questions I have that are specifically about your ethnicity, but of course this whole thing is kind of geared towards that. Your experience is often inherently informed by like your personal, like your ethnicity and your personal experiences and how it informs your art. So on that topic, right, do you have any advice for young artists that are in a similar position as you, not feeling like their art is validated, feeling like kind of lost, almost lost in translation, I think? That's a good way that I feel like when you've complained about like people noticing your art, I feel like that's a good way to put it. I don't know if you agree. How do you feel like about that, and what would you give advice maybe to your young self or to younger artists in that position?
Advice. Yeah.
Do you need to write it out?
No, I'll think about it for a bit.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna pause it here then.